Hey everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the best new subclass mods in Baldur's Gate 3's mod manager. For a brief overview of what we got here today, there are 4 different subclasses, starting off with the Doom-inspired Oath of Fury Paladin, the Arcane Duellist Sorcerer subclass, the Ethereal Warlock, and my newest subclass, the Lucky Clover Domain Cleric, just in time for St. Patrick's Day, which features 8 new types of spells themed around gold and poison. And if you're wondering where my character's at right now, I actually did a video yesterday breaking down a new campaign mod with the Dinner with Strahd by Ninja Sniper Kitty, so I highly recommend checking that mod out if you think this area looks really cool. And I'm currently working on my next 2 subclass mods, so please let me know any feedback you may have on any of my mods, because I'm just looking to improve. And yeah, that is a squirrel that I made for my mod that can throw beer bottles at your character. But we will first start off with the Oath of Fury here. This is a Paladin mod that's made by Dirk Kriegwurst, and this mod lets you rip and tear as it's Doom inspired. Now, a brief overview of this subclass mod has a new resource here with its Fury, which you get by using certain abilities and by getting critical hits. You also have the Furious Smite, which also has a reaction version of it. And with this, we also have our Divine Rage. Your Righteous Fury manifests itself in a Divine Rage. Gain Fury after killing a creature or landing a critical hit. If the target is a fiend or an undead, you can gain an additional Fury charge. This uses your Channel Oath charge for 10 turns to be able to apply that buff. You also get the Lay Hands Punish here, which is great because Lay Hands is something you sometimes forget about if playing a Paladin. This will deal damage, and on top of that, you actually heal for half the amount of damage. Additionally, if the target is a fiend or an undead, you regain a use of Lay Hands, and you also get a Fury charge from using this. Now, you will get another Fury charge upon hitting level 2, but once we get to level 3, we got Imbue Weapon Wrath. So channel Righteous Fury into your weapon. Until the end of your turn, your weapon will deal an additional 1d8 Radiant when thrown. Gain the thrown property. If thrown, it'll immediately reappear in your hand. Really fun ability here. Another thing I do want to quickly touch on is radiant damage. Whenever you're doing throwing, typically it doesn't end up actually applying things like radiating orb off gear, so just want to point that out. Also, Furious Dash here that we do get is a Fury charge. Your Fury drives you. Movement speed will be increased by 6 meters by using a Fury. This is a free action as well, so you can use this anytime you're just coming up short on movement speed. You also get Burning Hands and Armor of Agathis here for level 3 oath spells. Level 5 will give us Misty Step, which makes a lot of sense. If you play Doom, you know you dash around quite a bit. We also get the Shatter spell to just crack some skulls. Upon hitting level 7, we get Unstoppable, so when you're in a Divine Rage, you get advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Once we make it to level 9, we get Conjure Barrage here, which if you're using some other mods that make changes to Conjure Barrage, they will apply on this one as well. Also, you get Haste, which is an awesome spell to have. And you're going to get an additional Fury point every odd level here, and even at level 12. Another awesome thing about this mod is it does support level, if you want to go all the way up to level 20, you can get additional spells like Staggering Smite, which is an amazing one to see, and Fire Shield here at level 13. And then once you hit level 20, you get an additional Fury too. And you can see here our Lay Hands Punish actually gets pretty effective once we get up to higher levels here, so you can go ahead with this very devastating attack, which will even on a save 49 damage there. So yeah, pretty effective stuff because it's going to be healing you for half the damage dealt, and it can give you back your Fury charges, which we're going to be using on things like our Furious Dash here, which gives you that extra movement speed, and you can freely use that every single turn if you wanted to. It also gives us that Imbue Weapon Wrath here, so if you want to power up your weapon and then have it become a throwing weapon, and then you can just go ahead here with tossing it around as much as you want, and it's going to return to your hand. Just be mindful, you do have to be in combat for throwing attacks to be properly done, otherwise it might not return to your hand. It's just a limitation of Baldur's Gate 3. This is a pretty fun class, so you got things like Burning Hands too for some extra spell selection, Conjure Barrage as well as higher levels, and then you even have the things like Staggering Smite. So yeah, this class comes with a nice variety of spells here and different abilities to make the Paladin feel like an actual powerful character. The nice thing I do want to mention too is that they mentioned how the Paladin Sword Bar is one of the most powerful versions of the Paladin, which it is. And this help balance that, because this is extremely powerful as you continue to take it all the way, but it's not too overpowered. It actually keeps it balanced within a base game combination. I appreciate that because on my very first mod, that's exactly what I wanted to do, as I'm someone that loves the Bard 10 Paladin 2 combo. This is a strong class. It's just a tier below that one too. And I think it's a good design philosophy for mod classes, because typically I get a lot of comments about people saying, oh, this class isn't strong enough, or why would I use this when there's base aim classes? So it's nice to have classes that are on par with some of the stronger builds in the game without being too over the top in terms of their strength. Now it pairs very well with a Paladin, a Cleric, and in particular the Lucky Domain Cleric, because our last class benefits from getting critical hits. This one helps out your entire team with getting critical hits. Again, this is the Lucky Clover Domain, Luck, Gold, and Poison by Jason Dunn and myself here, and there are a variety of different spells, even some Leprechaun summons in this class mod, unique VFX for all of them. And a big thing with this build is all the spells are going to give the target that takes damage gold. So if you hit someone with your Scorching Ray combo here, they end up getting gold, which you can take, or you can use the blood money attack. I end up changing to Gilded Curse, but basically they'll take proficiency bonus per 100 gold that's possessed by the target. And you also have things like the Ray of Gold here, which hits like a lightning bolt. And as you upcast it, it's going to give the target even more gold. Now, as soon as you hit level 1, we get our Lucky Shot cantrip here. This is an attack roll for the Cleric. It applies 10, or gives the target 10 gold and makes them drunk for 2 turns, alongside a 1d4 of Acid, Poison, Necrotic. My theming was all green damage types for this green class. Now, you can also enjoy this. It doesn't have to be the, St. Patty's Day. You also get the Luck feat here, which is an underrated feat, and it fits perfectly because you get this little 4-leaf clover here and this icon 4-leaf clover. Now, our Channel Divinity is the Lucky Break here, which increases your critical hit chance by, or reduces the critical threshold by 2 for all allies in a 7-meter radius. 7 is a lucky number, but the reason I went with it is it's large enough that you can have your whole team like kind of playing nearby, but it's not like the 3-meter radius that the Paladin gets held to, which is really hard to use on things like their protection, aura protection. Also, it's going to show whatever deity that you chose there, and I did that with a few different spells. Upon hitting level 3, we get our Piercing Poison, which lets our poison damage ignore resistances, and we get Shamrock Spray here, which gives the target 10 gold per beam, and this is upcastable all the way to level 9. I went through and made upcasts so that they can go all the way up. It also has full support if you're using other spell mods, like the 5e Blade cantrips, and this class is actually a martial class as well. So if you want to throw fireworks on this, you can, or you can go up and smack them in their face. Level 5 is when we get our Ray of Gold. Now, I made this skinnier than a lightning bolt, but it goes longer, and as you upcast it, it goes even further. And you can also note in the tooltip, it says you gain some gold depending on target's hit. It's a wild card. It's really weird how it works. I tried to replicate it. You can see here, you got the deity selection there, and then when you go to cast it, it fires a bunch of coins around your character, which I thought looked amazing here. So yeah, this is really fun. So yeah, you can blast away with a bunch of coins. I'll also show, I guess, Shamrock Spray VFX off here, so it just shoots like a little green splash attack there. So yeah, with these, you got the nice green and yellow glow to your character whenever you go to precast it. And this one, you basically are just throwing a bottle, it gets the target drunk. Level 6, I make it so that your character ignores resistances to necrotic damage, so that you can actually use necrotic damage and not feel bad about it. I also have the Conjure Luck here, which gives you a choice between you can get unlimited weapons or you can summon in different summons. I wasn't going to make summons a part of this build, but people wanted it, and it's got cute green cats, so I hope no one is upset about that. What the dog doing? And the Dire Wolf is such a hit from the Heartsworn Night Fighter, so I thought to include again. They have the cutest camp animations too, as they're just chilling, they'll do some adorable stuff. I think they're really sweet. And the newest member here is the squirrel this time. I just thought that this one was really funny, so yeah, we got a little green squirrel. My favorite part is the animations it makes when it does its attacks. It is seriously so cute, and yeah, it can throw the beer bottle too. And the final summon, who is a little bit stronger than others. This is a red cap that I reworked to become a leprechaun here. It also got the Lucky Shot attack, but I love their Ironbound Pursuit attack. This backflip kick is seriously so cool. I am so glad that we can, use that and break things apart like that. Anywho, I get really excited playing around with some of the stuff I'm making these mods. Level 7 gives us our extra attack here, so it does get a use out of using Gilded Curse. Now, the only reason I want to give the extra attacks because otherwise it's not fun to use this ability because the clerics aren't typically going to be that strong when it comes to combat, but you'll see the weapons that I got included here work out pretty well. They got all the green damage types, and the Gilded Curse here does additional damage per gold consumed. I just want to note that yes, you can still cheese it like you can in the base game with the Twist of Fortune. It has a 300 gold threshold. This one has a 100, so yes, it is like 3 times stronger, but you have to consciously cheese the game to use that, so I hope no one is upset with that. But yeah, be careful. Don't go attacking merchants with this. You'll have a bad time. Or a good time, depending on how evil you are. But I also give the Divine Strike Poison here so that we have multiple different poison-based attacks that we can use with that extra attack. Typically, your cleric wants to use not really spell attack rolls and attack rolls on weapons, so it's an interesting mix. But I also give it a spell here, the Clover Burst, which is similar to Flame Strike. It's got slightly more damage than it, just very slightly, but it is poison, acid, necrotic, and radiant damage, so it can still proc your radiating orb gear if you wanted to, but it's just a fun other choice and spell, and it's good at breaking concentrations because of all the extra damage die. And upon hitting level 12, you get an improved critical hit here, and as you go past this level, you're going to get this a few more times just as a level 20 support. It also has a few spells that you can upcast, and again, it also has full support for things like Dawnstar spell mods. Now the Gilded Curse here has a really cool animation. I love the gold that flies around the weapon whenever you go to use this. It is so scenic. So yeah, you can use that to get additional, if you have targets that have additional gold on them, you can use that, whack them with it. That's the kind of flow of this class. You want to use your different spells that add gold to the target and then go in and whack them, get a little extra damage out of it. This was something really hard to balance and not make it feel weak. Also under to conjure luck here are where the weapons are. There's the Lucky Star as well as the Fortune Binder Staff. And you can dual wield them and it looks amazing. So with these, they do a 1d8 of poison plus a 1d4 of necrotic damage. When you roll a 2 or less with the weapon damage die, it re-rolls and use the new result. And when you concentrate on a spell, you get a 1d4 of extra poison damage. And you also get a +1 to spell save DC. So if you're using 2 of those, it's a +2. And on top of that, if you have it in your offhand, you get a +2 to your armor class. And here's the Fortune Binder Staff, which has these glowing green wings on it. This is also a nice staff because you can use Shillelagh or Shillelagh, depending on your pronunciation, which is a spell I give on this. It also has Mistress Blessing, so whenever you use Bless, it gives a 1d4 bonus to saving throws and weapon attack rolls, and an additional 2d4 to spell attack rolls. So that's one of the best buffs in the game, and it's a staff that's in Act 1, sometimes forgotten about. It also gives a +1 to spell save DC and spell attack rolls. So yeah, this is a well-rounded class. It's got a lot of different abilities. It's a cleric, so it's going to be strong, but honestly, from my testing, the Tempest domain and the Light domain still are more powerful, so you can play this without having to worry about it being like too overpowered. Again, if you don't use the cheese where you reverse pickpocket 1 million gold into a target, so you've been warned. But yeah, very well balanced. The Tempest domain does a lot more damage than this one. And sorry, that section probably took a little while just because there's so many unique spells that I worked on for that. But next up, we got the Arcane Duellist Sorcerer subclass by Orhin 1985. You may know them for their Elder class mod, which is just now available on consoles. The Arcane Duellist, I love Gish type classes where they got like melee spell attacks and they can do a little bit of everything. You get an Arcanic fighting style here, so it's one of your choices. You still get all the classic spell selections that you get from there. This one will automatically give you the Booming Blade spell, alongside Shield and Compelled Duel. This mod also has support for things like Dawnstar spell mods, and there are some new meta magics here. So you got these Armed spell here, so you can infuse your blade with the spells you cast. After using a spell or a cantrip until the end of your next turn, you can activate this meta magic to add a 1d8 of damage to your melee attack, which will increase to a 2d8 level 6 and a 3d8 at level 11. Damage type depends on the last spell you cast. This uses 2 sorcery points. And level 3 gives another new meta magic with Rebalance spell. So your next melee attack action has advantage, and you get a +2 to your next spell save DC or spell attack roll for 3 sorcery points. This plays really nice into one of the passes that we're going to get a little bit later on, so definitely worth taking because you can combine this and get some pretty crazy output out of it. Again, the 5e blade cantrips works really well here because there's just so many options to enhance your blade abilities. Level 6 is when we get our Spellblade Expert. You've prepared your body to combine magic and weapons. After you cast a cantrip that costs an action, you can make a weapon attack using a bonus action. So you can see how this is starting to come all together here. You also get the Ambitious Spellblade, so a successful critical hit with a melee weapon attack. You can use a cantrip for 1 sorcery point in the same turn. So that's really nice. You can go for either the melee focus version or like the spell casting and then do a melee after. You can blade dance kind of with this. You also get the Arcane Duellist Conjure Barrage here, so to channel your weapon's essence and destructive widespread volley. I still have the weapon attached from my last month, so that's why it says poison damage. It would do whatever your normal damage type is. And you get Elemental Weapon. Once we hit level 11, we get the Spellblade Master. So if you reach the pinnacle of combining magic and weapons after you cast a spell or a cantrip that costs an action, you can make a weapon attack using a bonus action. You also get Explosive Cut. When a creature misses you with a weapon attack, you can retaliate using a powerful strike that deals an additional 2 to 16 force if you're wielding a melee weapon. We also got Whirlwind Attack using a sorcery point. I love this. It's from the, you get the Hunter Ranger ability here, but it's got a cost associated with it. And you also get the Spellblade Shot. So you teleport to your target within a 9-meter radius and strike them with your melee weapon, also using an attack roll and a sorcery point. Level 14 gives the Meta Magic's free spell. Your next spell costs sorcery points instead of spell slot, depending on the spell level you cast. And upon hitting level 18, we get Ascendant Duelist. So you become the greatest swordsman of the Spellblade dynasty from which you've descended. Gain a +2 to armor class. Enemies will have disadvantage when they're targeting you, meaning they're much less likely to go after you. You also get a +3 bonus to your melee weapon attack rolls, and you can score a critical hit on an 18 instead of a 20. This lasts for 10 turns using 3 bonus action and 3 sorcery points. So here are some of the different abilities. We can go with the Ascendant Duelist here to power ourselves up. Really cool of the effects there. And then we got our Spellblade shot, which we can use to teleport and attack around. I really like this. You can use this per turn, and it uses a sorcery point here. So you got it. You basically use this for like a bit of momentum to teleport to a target, attack them, and then you can kind of set up from there, use some of your other abilities. It's more so about doing like a split thing between spell casting and attacking. I love the animations too for like whirlwind attack here with a staff. It just looks so cool. So yeah, a lot of fun abilities on this one, and it's definitely worth checking out. So that is the Arcane Duellist Sorcerer subclass. If you're looking for something that's good between like spell casting, melee attacking, just kind of being a fun new turn and twist on the Sorcerer, this one's for you. Also, this ability, the Ascendant Duelist, makes your weapon turn purple. And finally, we have the Ethereal. This is a Warlock subclass that is made by Tricaliber_OG. Now, I previously covered one of their other mods, the incredible Way of the Jungle Monk subclass mod. This is their latest one. Pledging yourself to an ethereal plane itself, granting travel between its worlds and our material one while harnessing the power that dwells within the ethereal's mysterious realm. So you get a choice of some different spells. This includes the Find Familiar and Fog Cloud spells being added into the mix. We get Phase Shift here, forcing two entities to switch positions by phasing them through the ethereal plane. You can only target yourself and enemies until you get your Pact Boon. We also got Misty Veil, which I'll show you guys in just a second here. We also have the Favor charges, which we can use for some abilities, and Ethereal Gifts. And for the Ethereal Gift level 1 here, your patron is granted you this gift. Whenever you cast a successful phase shift, shifted enemies will take a 1d4 necrotic, while shifted allies will gain a 1d4 of healing. So then you go ahead with your phase shift here, and you target yourself, and then I guess at this current level I don't have any enemies nearby until you get the Pact Boon. And once we get the Pact Boon at level 3, this lets us choose different abilities. So the Pact of the Blade lets us phase shift larger or smaller allies, excluding summons. Pact of the Chain lets you shift your larger or smaller summons. And Pact of the Tome lets you phase shift large or smaller movable items and dead entities. Pretty cool. You also get the Pact of Based Misty Veils, so this will choose a different ability depending on what Pact Boon you got. So Pact of the Blade, your weapon attacks apply Misty Veil, and does the spell Conjure Barrage. So does the spell Conjure Barrage. Pact of the Chain, damaging enemies and attacks made by your summons apply Misty Veil, and damaging enemies or damaging spells from your tome apply Misty Veil, as do the Book of Ancient Secrets, Eldritch Invocation. I just really like the Blade domain, or Pact of Blade, we're rolling with that. And once we hit level 5, we get our Expand Phase Horizon. You can kind of imagine where this is going. Theme. You may choose an additional entity type to become a viable target for your phase shift ability until your next long rest. Domain expansion, phase horizon, expand, whatever. You also get another favor charge here. And we probably want to take Conjure Barrage, as it does apply with our special ability that we got. Level 6 gives subclass feature Swirling Current. So whenever two entities are successfully phase shift during combat, a misty whirl is created at each entity's location. And you also get the Ether Cyclone, collapse a misty whirl into a cyclone on an ethereal plane, pulling enemies up to 4.5 meters towards it. This uses 2 of your favor charges. And we also get a different version of our phase shift action here, forcing two entities to switch places, phasing through the ethereal plane. You can always target yourself and enemies until you gain your Pact Boon. Level 7 gives the Ethereal's Ancient Secrets, so if you select the Book of Ancient Secrets, Eldritch Invocation, you also get the Shapeless Tome. When activated, spells from the Pact of the Tome and Book of Ancient Secrets cast a bonus action and a favor instead of an action. So yeah, it's worth taking at this point, because these spells normally suck, but they're good now. Level 10 gives us Ethereal, so affected entity is incorporeal, cannot be shoved, thrown, or used as an improvised weapon. Amazing, I hate getting shoved off the ledge. We also got Counter Phase here, interrupt an enemy's attempt to teleport. If there's a misty world nearby, they will be redirected to it and forced to skip their turn as a reaction, use it a favor charge. And at level 14, we get the Waveless Sea. Ethereal Gifts are now applying half damage to all nearby enemies with a Misty Veil after a successful phase shift. And we also get the Summon Phase Spider Matriarch, so summon a formidable predator of the ethereal plane to fight alongside you. So with this mod, we got our big spider. Now this only lasts for 6 turns, so there's a heads up on that. And yeah, it's got its 162 health here. It can go around doing the venomous bite, doing a little extra poison damage on targets. So pretty cool stuff. We also got our Expand Phase Horizon here, so that lets us add movable items, dead entities, or even just summons to the mix. So if you want to use your phase shift, you can use that there to swap that around, and then you can go ahead with your abilities to swap around a target with yourself if you wanted to, and boom, you can go ahead and do the teleport. I think that worked funky because they were disappearing, but I'll show you that with Gale here now, so we can just swap places. Boom! And yeah, you get yourself these special abilities. So I'll use the Misty Veil here on some kitties that we're fighting. And the Misty Veil here, draped in a thin veil of Ethereal Mist, has disadvantage on saving throw against enemy phase shifts. So you can use that there to give yourself a bit of a buff. So yeah, you can phase shift enemies around if you wanted to. There's a lot of fun things you can do with this. This applied Misty Veil to all of them and created the whirls in this area so that we do have some other abilities that power up. Conjure Barrage is really fun to use when we actually can do some fun, like some cool stuff with it. Using the staff here, yeah, a lot of damage. Cool. Yeah, if you hit the Misty Whirls, they'll explode for cold damage. So yeah, be mindful of that. Oof. So there are the new best subclass mods in Baldur's Gate 3's mod manager. Links will be in the description to go check this out a bit in depth. You can also just download them from the main menu of the game. Let me know your favorite in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and we'll catch you all in the next video.